Welcome to the first episode of 2018 of 30 Minute Reviews. I'm Adam.
I'm Peter.
There we go.
New year, Jimmy. We're starting off right.
It's been a very slow news week. We're coming out of, Christmas and all that stuff, where basically everything that does stuff like this has been out for the holidays, so there's nothing really going on, so we're going to do basically just whatever the hell we want to talk about, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Thor Ragnarok. I do have a question I was thinking of yesterday, though, for you.
Okay.
Okay. If you could adapt one, or not even you could adapt, but you're not someone who would really go into and put in, be the person doing it. If you could see one adaptation of a book that you read in the past as a movie or a TV show, what would it be?
As opposed to a future book.
What?
As opposed to a book I'm going to read in the future.
Well, no, I mean more like a book not something you've read in the recent past, or a scholarly book. I mean, like as a teenager.
Well, yeah, no, I want a textbook I read to get turned into a movie.
Well, I mean, Grey's Anatomy got a TV show that's still on the air for 14 fucking years.
That's Grey's Anatomy in the book is a medical book.
Yeah, I know. It's based on a textbook, though.
I'm looking at my bookshelf. I would say... Hold on. Okay, I have it.
Okay, what is it?
I think the other two Space Odyssey books, 2061 Odyssey 3, and then 3001 The Final Odyssey.
Oh, the trilogy in 4 parts they only ever did the first 2 of.
Yeah. I know, the first one's amazing, just Stanley Kubrick. The second one's okay. But the third and fourth books are very good, and I would have liked to see them as a movie and then finish everything out. Yeah, because I mean, I liked 2000. I liked 2010 too. That was an interesting movie because I believe you watched that, and I remember seeing bits and pieces of it while playing Battlefront or something like that on my computer. That was a good movie, from what I remember. Personally, I think that with the popularity of a series of unfortunate events on Netflix and stuff like that, I think that Anthony Horowitz's entire body of work would lend itself to becoming TV series. I don't know if you read any of his stuff. He wrote the Alex Rider series, but teenage. Oh, okay, that's it. I confused that with Anthony Horowitz, who's the guy who made Arrested Development.
Oh.
I was very confused.
But then he also has a lesser-known series that was really good, the Diamond Brothers Mysteries, which is a guy I think he was, if I remember correctly, he was meant to be around our age. He was going to be in his early to mid-20s, and he had a younger brother who he lived with because their parents died or something like that, and he was a private detective, but he was an idiot, so the younger brother was the one doing all the mystery solving.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting thing that I would like to see adapted maybe one day. Alex Rider had that one really shitty movie though, with Ewan McGregor in a very small cameo because his character dies in the beginning of the movie. No, he plays the uncle who in Stormbreaker gets killed in the before the movie starts. That's the thing that starts the movie off, is the funeral of the uncle. And he dies on a mission, but and that's what brings Alex into the world of spies and all that stuff. The movie was terrible though. I don't know if you remember they made the movie about that.
No, I don't think I wasn't really interested in the book, so when the movie came out, I didn't really notice. Yeah,
that was a disappointment to me. I don't want a cursed child movie.
My cousin, I think they already got their tickets for the Broadway show. And I was like, why did you waste your money on that?
Exactly.
It was so bad. But having said that, when it comes to Seattle, I might see it.
Just boo. Like
The entire
boo.
boo, like the entire time through. But like I'm gonna say it again. If I want to see that movie, I will wait until Flashpoint comes out, and I will see the exact same thing. Because it is literally Flashpoint, but with Harry Potter characters.
Yep. And then a lot of other just bullshit that doesn't matter.
Exactly, where they can't even keep the own continuity right with it. It feels like fan fiction of the of Harry Potter, where the person didn't even do the bare minimum of reading the source material to understand how the various things work and where characters were left off in the finale.
The Time Turner they completely forgot how the Time Turner worked.
Exactly. And Harry Potter at its core, Harry Potter isn't a franchise like The Flash, where The Flash views the timeline as malleable, and like if you go back in time and change something, you can go back to the present and then something has changed. In Harry Potter, when you go back in time, you can influence events, but the way you perceive them at the end is still the way they turned out.
Yeah, that's actually how Harry Potter handles time travel. Is my favorite version of time travel, where like everything that's happened has already happened. So whatever you go back in time and try to change, you've already done that because it's already happened.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. That's like in the third book where they are actually kind of seeing themselves. And like,
and the movie actually handles it really well, too. I think that's entirely due to Alfonso Cuarón, though.
Whereas, that's one of the best time travel movies ever.
Right. Because, like, if you, like, the thing is, too, it would have been very easy to just make it where, like, every scene that you can see someone else, like, you can see them in the, as they've gone back in time, it's done in such a way that you don't know that it's them, but it's not done where when it shows that it is them, it doesn't contradict what you've seen up until that point. Like, and that's the important part of that, is that it makes it a better twist, where it's not like, we just lied to you the first time you saw it, here's what really happened. It's just, we didn't show you everything. It's just, here's the full story.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that I'm not.
I was speaking of children's books. I forgot if I said this or not, but over winter break, I finished reading the entire series of Unfortunate Events.
I've been meaning to do it. I bought the first one to reread.
But most people, when I say that, have been saying that, have said, why? Or why, like, was not, or like, I told people, like, what did you do over winter break? I was like, oh, I read a lot. And they're like, oh, what were you reading? I was like, oh, a series of Unfortunate Events.
Just find out how to say that in French, and then you'll sound a lot more cultured.
But I liked it much better this time, especially because I remember this, spoiler alert, so too fucking bad.
The book came out, like, 13 years ago?
Yeah, so I won't give away too many spoilers, but basically the book ends, and there's so many things that they just don't answer, and you have no idea. Like, most of the questions about DFD and their parents and all that are not answered at all. Mm-hmm. The biggest reveal is that Beatrice was their mother the whole time. Like, that's the big reveal at the end of the book.
Right.
Which I completely forgot about, so that was like a fun treat at the end of the book that I completely forgot, that they explicitly state that Beatrice was their mother. Mm-hmm. Because I thought that was just a rumor, so the entire book I'm like, oh, that's a hint. Like, oh, they're hinting at it. But there's one part where he makes it that it's not their mother, because he's listing people that are, like, dead, and he's like, the Baldwin's parents, like, blah, 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 like, my brother, Beatrice, like, and he says it separately. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, maybe they're not. But then at the end, it's like, no, Beatrice is their mom. Yeah, and then, so my favorite book is the 12th book, which is The Penultimate Peril. Because that's the one where it seems like most everything is turning around, and they meet Kit Snicket, and they go to that giant hotel, and they, like, basically all the characters from the books from that point on have all come to this hotel, and you find out who's on what side, and like some of them are just being manipulated, some of them are actually evil, and there's people named JS that are impersonating Jacques Snicket, and they have to figure out who that is. Then you find out that it was actually Judge What's-Her-Face.
Oh, Justice Strauss?
Justice Strauss was there, and she's been following them this whole time. And then, I forget who the other JS was. Oh, Jerome was the other JS.
Right, and Jerome.
He's been following them too. and it's like everything is like, and that's when you actually find out about shit ton, and like everything like clicks together perfectly, and then a bunch of other shit happens, and then you find out the other two justices of the peace are actually the man with no hair and a beard, and a woman with hair but no beard. And Justice Strauss has been telling them everything about the Baudelaires this whole time, and that's another way Count Olaf has been finding them.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And
I
and then
completely forgot about everything that happens after whatever the Grim Grotto is number 11. After that one, I don't remember the last two books at all.
Oh yeah, that's like it was like reading the books for the first time. I was like, I really do not remember there's very few weird things that I remember. But yeah, that was not one of them. But then the best part is because Count Olaf and the Baudelaires get put on trial because Baudelaires actually shoot someone with the spear gun.
That was in the Grim Grotto.
No, that's in the Penultimate Peril. They shoot. There's two hotel managers that are identical twins, and one is evil, one is good. And then they meet the third, and they're actually identical triplets, and then they accidentally shoot the triplet with the harpoon gun. So then they get put on trial, and Count Olaf gets put on trial, and then Count Olaf escapes, so they escape. They basically know it, like all the noble people that have been trying to help us also suck, and they also have all these secrets and are just as treacherous.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
trust any adult is the moral of the story.
And basically, they're like, we need to basically do this on our own. Like, we need to stop trying. Like, why do we care about what's happening to the VFD? Like, they're actually not that good. And they come to this realization. They're like, we don't care about the secrets. We don't give a shit. Like, we're leaving. So they actually escape with Count Olaf, and then they burn. Then they're like, let's burn the hotel down. And they burn the hotel down. But it's to send a signal to the other noble people that are not there yet to not come to the hotel. So that's why it's actually good, I guess. But so then that's why they just abandon everything, and they're like, fuck this. Like, we're leaving. Don't you also find out that Count Olaf is also an orphan, and the Baudelaire's parents killed Count Olaf's parents?
Oh.
Because multiple books back, talk about there's a night at a theater where the Baudelaire's parents were delivered poison darts. Because Kitsnick is there, and Lemleystick is there, and there's a lot of people there. And then eventually Count Olaf is like, oh, I'm an orphan too. Like, I was taken from my parents, just like you were. Like, maybe you should ask if you ever like meet your parents or whatever, or like talk to someone about your parents about the poison darts. So, and you find out that Count Olaf did not burn down the Baudelaire's house.
Was it Esme?
I'm assuming it was Esme, but you never get a clear there's never a distinction like, oh, this person did it, but it wasn't Count Olaf. It could be Esme because she had that tunnel from her apartment building to the Baudelaire's house.
Right, yeah, that was
And she's one of the top VFD people that lights fires and shit. So,
but I do remember too that a big part of the 6th book was the red herring as a concept, and that's another thing I really like about these books: is the fact that they attempt to introduce literary concepts.
Literary devices and red herrings.
The MacGuffin.
Yeah, because
the sugar bowl is the MacGuffin for the penultimate peril. That I remember vividly.
You're welcome, listeners. I just choked on water. That was fun.
Were you drinking it like Trump does?
I know, I was drinking a little bit more normal. Then the 13th book, they go to that island, and then there's that guy that tried to protect the island by hiding it from everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But then you find out he was also part of VFD because he knows Count Olaf, and the Baudelaire's parents were on that island, and you find out that they ran the island, and then this guy kicked them off because they were too smart. And then they find his book, and then everyone dies on the island because they all get exposed to the mushroom from the 11th book.
Right, and that's another thing they do well is they don't leave anything they leave plot threads hanging, but they don't leave hanging any any device. No devices left, just not touched again. It's like Harry Potter in that respect, where if it's brought up previously, it's used again.
Yeah, and this one, and then because that guy's we're leaving the island, it's not safe anymore because of all the mushrooms. But he won't let any of the people eat the apples that are the cure because they have horseradish in them. But he eats an apple that has horseradish in it. He's safe, and he makes the entire island get on a raft, and we're leaving. So everyone on the island died, probably. Then Count Olaf, he shot Count Olaf with the harpoon, and that's how the mushroom got out. But Count Olaf also got hit with the harpoon, and he's dying. And that's when you find out he didn't burn Mulder's house down, and that he's actually was in love with Kit Snicket, and that Kit Snicket was there also and had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kisses Kit Snicket and dies, and Kit Snicket dies from childbirth. And then the Baldors raise the baby on their own.
So 2 preteens and a small child raise a smaller child.
Yes.
This sounds like the origin to
they name
Maury.
They name a child Beatrice, and the boat they take there, Count Olaf put his name over the actual name of the boat, and then when they're there, they find out that boat was actually their parents' boat, and then they named it after the mom. And then the last thing is they rip off Count Olaf's name, and it's like, and written underneath it was the name of the baby, and the name of the Baldor's mother, like Beatrice. I also, have you ever, it's like this web genie thing, I forget what it's called.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, the one where it can guess what you're thinking of.
Yeah, I did Quigley Quagmire, and I got it. Isn't that crazy?
Like, yeah, that's a pretty deep pull on that one.
Do you remember in the Grim Grotto?
Yes.
When they look at the sonar, they see Count Olaf's submarine, and then that giant thing comes, and then the captain's like, I don't want to talk about it. It's too evil to speak about. And that comes back in the last book, and everyone's eaten by it. Like the Quagmire triplets, the captain, the Hook-handed man, the girl that Klaus likes, that the captain's daughter, that guy that built the hot air balloons in the Vile Village. They're all, because the Kit is with all of them because they're coming back, and then they see that thing. And Kit's like, we gotta get out of here. And then they're like, no, we should see what it is. And then it swallows all of them.
Do we find out what it is, or is it just like a giant shark?
No, you still don't know. They still, like, part of the book is, like, it's shaped kind of like a question mark, but you don't know if it's an animal or if it's
right, I remember it's like a question mark, and it's like, that's weird. Maybe they explore that in the prequels that I picked the first one, but I haven't read yet.
I almost want to read the other ones, like the newer ones that came out.
Yeah, what's it called? Who could that be at this hour? I actually have that right here.
I wonder if they're worth it.
Who could that be at this hour?
I didn't actually see it.
And it says on the back, before you decide to read this book in the new series by Lemony Snicket, the man responsible for a series of unfortunate events, ask yourselves these questions. Do you find sinister mysteries interesting? Yes. And why do you ask? Have you ever received a secret note and followed its very dangerous instructions? And it's no, and then no in quotation marks. Are you too young to be the sort of detective who retrieves a mysterious stolen item that may or may not have been stolen? And then
I'm actually in my mid-20s, so... and going to read a children's book.
But the answers are, none of your business, and besides, I'm told I look young for my age. And then it's, who is that standing behind you? And it's, I'm not going to fall for that old trick, and eek.
Haha.
And that's what the back of the book says. But it's a prequel.
Also, something cool I didn't realize until I read it this time. On the title page for all the books, it has a picture of Count Olaf and a picture of the children, and it's like what they wear for most of the book, each book.
Right, that I remember. I do remember that.
I didn't notice that.
And like the last few, they're not. Count Olaf isn't using a disguise for the last few.
But they are using a disguise, because that's the whole. At the last few books is them questioning whether they're good or not, because they realize they start doing everything Count Olaf has been doing and using disguises and lying to people and lighting fires and stealing. So they're actually like questioning whether they're good or bad.
It's a pretty deep book for children.
Yeah, that's why I liked it. I definitely that part went over my head, and I was like, "What's happening?"
Yeah, the questioning of their own morality. I do have another book that I actually found on my desk just now that'd be good for an adaptation for a children's TV series. It would take a little bit more work to adapt because, if I remember correctly, like it's Encyclopedia Brown, Boy Detective. Do you ever read those?
I've heard of them, but I've not.
Well, I have a coupon in here if you want to get started reading it. It's 50 cents off Encyclopedia Brown number 2, The Case of the Secret Pitch. But the coupon expired 10/31/1995. But the book itself is a series of children's mysteries that the last sentence of each one is always, how did he figure it out? Or something like that. Why? And it invites the reader to use critical thinking and look back at what happened and then on the last few pages is always like the solution
on
how he actually solved it. But the thing is, it's done like if you were reading it. So, but like it's not things that you can. It's hard to visually do.
Yeah.
But like one of the ones that really stands out for something like that is there's one in the first one. There's one the case of the champion egg spinner, where spoilers. It's this kid who always they do an egg spinning competition. It's a very 50s town. Think Andy Griffith Show kind of town that these kids live in.
Yeah.
Or like old style Archie Riverdale, not the new Twin Peaks Riverdale TV show. There's the egg spinner. He always spins. He always wins. How did he do it? And the answer is because when the egg falls off the table the first time, the owner of the soda shop or whatever it is sweeps up the mess.
Oh.
Because a hard-boiled egg has greater can spin longer than a not hard-boiled egg. That would be a little bit harder to portray, and it's also something that a kid wouldn't get now. Like, because egg spinning isn't a thing. But like, there's one like the Civil War sword, what you can easily do. It's like it says on the sword like this sword was used by Andrew Jackson at the first Battle of Bull Run, and it's like how do you know the sword was fake? Mm-hmm. Because why would it say the first Battle of Bull Run when the second one hadn't been fought yet?
Oh, interesting.
And it's things like that where it's like there's one. It's not in this book. It's in one of the later books where it's like a guy was trying to make it look like he got into a fight, and there's like one antagonistic asshole in the book who's constantly causing problems, and the little shit Encyclopedia Brown keeps keeps calling him out on his bullshit, he's running away from the scene, but he's putting his shirt on as he does it, and it's like, why would you be putting your shirt on if you're going to respond to someone who's getting attacked? You'd be taking your shirt off, because it's an old style thing where it's like you take your shirt off to fight, and then you like go like this, and you're like, let's go. It'd be interesting to see them try and adapt it, but it's something you can get like a good like bunch of 15-minute mysteries for like a kids show on Netflix.
That'd be a good medium for it.
Yeah, or you can do it as 7-minute shorts on like Cartoon Network between larger episodes of other TV shows.
Yeah,
like something like that. So what else have we got? I dove back into comics recently.
Hentai.
Not hentai. No, not hentai.
I only watch the videos for that.
I feel like someone's gonna call out. I think hentai does only refer to videos. I don't think it refers to the comic too. I know manga and anime are two different things. So if you call one the other, there's always some incredulous Naruto fan who's like, "That's not what it is." Like, okay, great, buddy. It's also not Naruto. That's how the Americans do it. The one I picked up was the new Daredevil ongoing. Where it feels a little too on the nose for what's going on in American politics today. The basic premise is, in the previous arc, Daredevil had, from what I'm gathering from this, I haven't read the previous arc, from what I'm gathering is, Matt Murdock had just argued in front of the Supreme Court that vigilantes should be considered agents of the police. So that way, it's actually very similar to what they're doing in DC right now with White Knight, where Jack Napier, who is the Joker, is suing Batman and the Gotham City Police Department for them letting Batman run amok and do whatever he wants, and for police brutality because Batman beats the fuck out of the Joker again. So he sues them, saying, should this be considered a police action? Should this be considered a vigilante? Can I sue him directly for all the money he has? Or, things like that. So they tried a case in front of the Supreme Court here, and it's proven, and the Supreme Court rules that the vigilantes of New York are considered agents of the police. So if you're captured by a vigilante, it's not considered a wrongful imprisonment or anything like that. So how does Wilson Fisk get around this? He becomes the mayor of New York.
That's exciting.
So this is one of the lines. It's Matt Murdock and Foggy talking at his at his inauguration, and it's like, Didn't people fight? He's a crime lord. Oh, sure, plenty of op-eds, plenty of protests, plenty of exposés. Fisk never denied it, never even addressed it. He just stayed on message. Like, the whole thing feels very on the nose, and then unintentionally, I'm sure, because this came out 3 weeks ago, this comic, there's an odd piece of it that's very, very similar to what's going on with the marijuana laws now, because California has legalized theirs, but then the Department of Justice just said they're going to start interfering with that again.
Yeah, the federal government is stopping a dick hole to be cool. Yeah,
exactly. So what happened is the district attorney's office, where Matt Murdock is now a district attorney for New York in the comic,
congratulations.
They need to go and start building cases against Luke Cage, Spider-Man, Iron Fist, Miss Marvel, The Punisher, and Daredevil. Because he wants the vigilantes brought in as vigilantes, which is illegal.
Matt Murdock?
No, Kingpin wants that.
Oh, okay.
But because Matt Murdock works for the district attorney's office, he's forced to build a case against himself because he's also Daredevil. So it's an interesting thing, and then he gets captured by the NYPD because the NYPD arranges a sting. It's an interesting premise for a new comic, so I'm hoping this continues on it being good. Not like that Secret Wars, not Secret Empire bullshit that happened last year. I don't know. I do like the idea though, where Wilson Fisk is just wielding different power, and he's still the same guy he always has been. He's just mayor of New York now. He's probably still a better mayor than De Blasio.
He probably is because De Blasio sucks.
Yeah. I don't understand how you screwed up plowing 6 inches of snow. Like, come on. But yeah, we. Did I tell you about the cool thing they do on a radio station in Connecticut? Over here on 99.1. It's a morning talk show I listen to on the way to work, and whenever they're talking about it, they're calling it either interchangeably a bomb cyclone and bombogenesis, which is when it suddenly forms. But anytime they say bombogenesis, they always do it with the same voice effect that they use for Tilda Swinton's character in Lord of the Rings. And it's just so much doing bombogenesis, but with that weird echoey thing.
Tilda Swinton's not in Lord of the Rings.
Not Tilda Swinton. Who's the other one?
Kate Blanchett.
That's the one I meant.
Pathetic.
Okay. But they do that with they do that when they were talking about it. But I went to work in the blizzard. Not something I would recommend to anyone. I got there at 7 for a 7:45 shift start, because I left my house an hour early, or an hour and a half early actually. And then I almost got stuck a few times because the snow had already accumulated in the street, and they weren't sending plows out yet for whatever fucking reason. So I get there. Our parking lot was plowed at least. So I go in and I'm waiting. I had my extra person on the floor call out by 7:45 when we were supposed to open. My cashier texted me at 7:20 and asked, "Do we really need to come in?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we really need to go in. I'm already here." And then my pharmacist texted me like, "Okay, I'm on my way." And it took her an hour and a half to get in. Because of how bad the snow was. So the entire day we did nothing. And there is a point to this because basically we just reenacted Clerks, where me and the cashier just stood at the front register and just bullshitted for the duration of my shift. Because my thought process was, if you're going to force me to come in during a state of emergency, during a blizzard, I'm not going to do any fucking work. You're going to pay me to do nothing all day. So that's what I did. I stood at the front register, did nothing all day. So me and my cashier, we were talking about how would you do a Batman trilogy now and make it unique from like The Dark Knight and from other previous Batman trilogies. And we came up with a pretty interesting idea. And I have a feeling you might like this. So our idea was a deconstruction of Batman as a character, because everyone knows who Batman is, But I think if you're going to do a trilogy now, you deconstruct them into its components. So the first movie, you go with his, you go for his, what's it called? His intelligence. And you have to have him face off a villain who's as smart as him.
Shouldn't the first movie be about why he became Batman?
No.
And about his parents dying?
No, that's in the trilogy. That's in the trilogy. But it's not the first movie. The first movie, you use the Riddler as the villain.
I do like the Riddler.
Because you use someone who's as smart as him and can outsmart him to show that he's, show who he is. Then you use, for the second movie, a villain who he can try and turn and make not a good person, but show that he has empathy to really make him feel like a hero and more than a guy who's just going to throw the bad guy in jail. It's going to make him feel like a hero where he's trying to turn the person and he sees the good in everyone. So I would have him face off with someone like, we came up with Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze as the two you could use for that one. And then for the third one, that's when you talk about his past.
Mm-hmm.
And you have him do that by having him face off against Hush.
Which one
Because
is that?
Hush is his childhood best friend whose parents died, so he was kind of de facto adopted by Thomas and Martha Wayne. Then when they die, he grows to hate Bruce Wayne. He figures out who Bruce Wayne is, then fakes his death and becomes Hush. So he's facing off against his childhood best friend, but Bruce Wayne doesn't know who he is the whole time. So This is a way of having him physically come to terms with what it was that made him Batman, and that's how you should do a deconstruction of Batman as a character.
Yes.
Because I think that what people don't understand about deconstruction is like when you hear deconstruction, you should think of the Food Network.
I do like the Food Network.
You never they always do deconstructed things on like Chopped and on things like that, where it's like we're gonna deconstruct the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which you're gonna take the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, make it into its parts, and make each part an important thing on the plate. And that's what a deconstruction of a movie character is too, or a movie in any way.
Or they throw all of it into the ice cream machine and it breaks.
Okay. That's also a possibility. And that's how DC's been throwing their movies out. Which is actually a pretty fit allegory. But like if you're going to do that, you can do that with characters too. But the thing is, it has to be something everyone knows. So you can't do a deconstruction of Spider-Man 2099 because there are about 7 people on the planet who are familiar enough with the character you can deconstruct it and everyone would know what's going on. I don't think you can even do it with Miles Morales at this point. You could probably do it with Spider-Man, which is what it appears they're doing starting with Homecoming. Is deconstructing what makes Spider-Man a hero. But it has to be something well established. Like you could do it with Iron Man at this point because everyone knows Iron Man now. But that's what it has to be. What they're not understanding is you need to do something with a character everyone knows already. So that way they can see a breakdown of what makes them great. Not just the ensemble of who they are, but what the individual things are. I'm breathing heavier than usual because I can't breathe out of my nose because I'm sick. Again. I have my annual sinus infection.
Because you don't take your antibiotics.
I only did that once. Now I don't even get antibiotics, so joke's on you. No, I just don't go to the doctor. I just suffer through until it goes away or I die. Whichever comes first. The latter has yet to happen, so it's worth it.
I'm assuming you're leaving me all of your possessions in that event.
Yeah, all 3 of my possessions. You can have the extensive pop figure collection. Oh, I just added 2 new ones, though.
Yeah, I'm okay. I don't want that.
I got the 10th Doctor.
Congratulations.
Because it's the, what's it called? It's the last season of Doctor Who I can bring myself to watch without making it feel like a chore. And I got, I know you'll love this one. King Henry.
Lundquist.
Yeah. It took me 3 months to find a Lundquist one, and I found it at Midtown Comics, buy one get one free. Or buy one get one half. So I got the 10th Doctor too. I think I don't know if I talked about it on the show, but they released a bunch of new ones for Kingdom Hearts, and I have somewhere around here. I have Mickey from Kingdom Hearts. Because I didn't want Donald, Goofy, or Pete, and Pete's like the giant one that's like weird. Like there are the small ones and the 3-inch ones. Like I have like a billion of, but then there's like the 6-inch giant ones. They have like Thanos, Kong, and they have things like that. They have Pete from Kingdom Hearts, which is weird. What?
What animal is Pete?
I think.
Does anyone know?
I'm gonna look it up. I feel like he's a
Look it up
dog.
first.
I feel like Pete's a
He doesn't
dog.
look like a dog. He doesn't look like a dog.
Pete.
I feel like he's a bear.
Oh.
No, wait, now he's a cat.
When you search Pete from Disney, the first result is what is he?
Someone asked what animal is Goofy. Like, you're fucking
Goofy's
idiot.
a dog. Goofy.
Yeah, Goofy. All the other animals are very obvious what they are.
By the way, if you go to Pete from Disney's Wikipedia page, when you search that at first, the picture that comes up for Pete is not Pete from the actual Wikipedia page. The picture that comes up is Pete from Kingdom Hearts. Pete, also called Pegleg Pete, Pistol Pete, and Black Pete, among other names, is an anthropomorphic cartoon character created in 1925 by Walt Disney and Ub Iwerks, who I've never heard of before, so he's probably the Jack Kirby of the situation. He's a character of Disney and now appears as a nemesis. He was originally an anthropomorphic bear, but with the advent of Mickey Mouse, he was redefined as a cat. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. He was
Cat,
also
mouse,
a
got
Nazi
it.
spy.
What?
He was a Nazi spy.
Wait, I did not know that.
Yes. It was in a comic strip. He was a spy for Nazi Germany, as Mickey discovered in Mickey Mouse on a secret mission. His motivation being the money, so I guess that's better than him hating Jewish people.
Well,
But he also was the official mascot of the United States Marine Corps. Merchant Marines, sorry.
He first appeared as a character in Alice Comedies, as a short subject series of cartoons, as Bootleg Pete, who it was to make fun of bootleggers.
He makes bootleg DVDs.
And then he looked like a bear. He actually looked like a bear, but he had Mickey's ears. Then he became the villain of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And then
In Kingdom Hearts, is he a bad guy?
He's a bad guy, yeah.
Is he like a lower tiered bad guy, or is he like a full?
It's weird because in Kingdom Hearts 1, Maleficent was like the first big bad guy you fight, like the first big.
But it turned like all weird with like.
Right, because then Maleficent, it turns out, wasn't the bad guy. It turned out there was a generic JRPG villain called Ansem who was bigger than.
We're not going into the plot of Kingdom Hearts.
We're not going to go into that, but
we'll take 4 hours, and no one will understand. After.
In Kingdom Hearts 2, he makes his first appearance, and he's just a lackey of Maleficent. But Maleficent kind of takes second fiddle to Organization 13. So he's kind of like a comedy bad guy. But based on the trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, it looks like he can have a bigger role where I'm not going to explain it any further because, it's going to take a long time. But there's there are now 2 separate plot threads going on in Kingdom Hearts. There is the plot thread of of Xehanort trying to start the Keyblade War to bring the entire universe to darkness.
But it's too much. It's already too much. We're not talking about this.
It's deep.
Actually, I guess I should have done this before, but I have to go to the bathroom.
Okay, I'll pause it.
So you can either pause it or
I will continue. I will continue my rant then until you get back. That way,
or you can continue the rant, or just pause it.
Yes, I will. So
are you pausing it or not?
I'm not pausing it. I'm just gonna continue. That way, you get back, and it's just like what you're gonna get back,
Well,
and it's gonna be the middle of it, and you're like, what the fuck. So then the other thing that happens in the trailer is it shows the continuation of the fact that Maleficent, I guess, is still alive. And so is Pete for reasons, I guess, because those are characters people liked. And so when they do come and they're now searching for this box that we don't know what's in it, or what it does, but Maleficent knows for some reason. So her and Peter consulting with Hades in Olympus Coliseum, and it's weird. So they do actually serve a purpose in the next one, even if it's a small purpose. But we'll find out at the end of the year. But while he's in the bathroom, I'll take a minute to address the leaks that have happened. There have been quite a few leaks of what's happening in Kingdom Hearts 3. Let me bring this up. Maybe Hal should be interested in this too. I have a feeling he won't be, but I'll just ask him what he thinks about the leaked world list. There have been what happened was someone uploaded information to a P2P server that was breached, and because of that, we're able to see what's going to be happening in the new Kingdom Hearts game. Give me 1 second. Let me pause my ad blocker. There we go. I have ad blocker turned off. Just fucking reload. By the way, I hate sites that do that because I should be able to run an ad blocker without you complaining. Now, there is a new world based on. So we already had Toy Story, we already had Big Hero 6, Olympus Coliseum was returning, Twilight Town was returning, the Mysterious Tower was returning, but now there's also Corona, which we knew, which is from Tangled, and now we also know Toy Story from the most recent trailer. Now there are two new other things that have been leaked in this set, which is Monsters Inc. and Frozen have both been shown to be in the new game, which will be coming out at the end of the year. So that, as long as Frozen isn't a redo of Atlantica, I'm fine with it. Because in Atlantica and Kingdom Hearts 2, but I don't think Atlantica should be coming back. I do really like the first E3 trailer. And here we go. What have we got?
Okay, don't worry, I'm back.
Okay. I think I'm boring people, which is good.
I have a guarantee that is what was happening. I got this new hand soap. It's called like J something Myers, and it's lemon scented, and it's like the best thing ever. I also, while that was happening, an Amazon package was delivered.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a book. So it's like a textbook.
I got what's it called? I got my delivery today too.
Yeah. Ooh. Behavioral neurobiology. With a picture of a bird on the cover.
There you go. I was talking about the leaked worlds from Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's not. I'm displeased. Because on top of Toy Story, which is now there's also Frozen. Which is good as long as it's not Atlantica from Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah.
And Monsters Inc. In your world. So yeah.
Or is it Monsters University?
No, it's Monsters Inc. because it's like on the scare floor in the pictures that are leaked. And apparently another thing that's weird is that the events of Kingdom Hearts 3 take place between Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, and are in canon with Toy Story as a series. Just like how the new the Big Hero 6 world is Big Hero 6 2.
That's stupid.
But
But yeah, this game is coming out in 2018, or 2018 will be the year that they announce another delay. In which case, I must.
That'd be pretty funny.
I've been waiting for this game for almost 15 years at this point. Like, this year is the 15th anniversary. Last year was the 15th anniversary of Kingdom Hearts 1. It's been almost 15 years since the sequel. And I've been waiting for the third game in this goddamn franchise. Like,
it'll make you appreciate it more.
Is this like how you feel for waiting for Half-Life 3 to come out?
No, it was how I felt waiting for Jurassic World to come out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. They're releasing Jurassic Park The Lost World, and Jurassic Park 3 in the same DVD and Blu-ray style that they released, what's it called? Jurassic World in. Like the same cover art style. Not like the tins like I have, but like the cover art for the standard Blu-ray.
Yeah, I already have it on Blu-ray. I don't need that.
That way it's a matching set for those of you who don't have those.
Don't need it.
So yeah, let's just go into, I guess we'll go into Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Thor Ragnarok. Now, I don't know how you thought of everything you thought about Thor Ragnarok. I do know that this is the first time in the illustrious 4-year history of our podcast that we have differing opinions on a fundamental level about something in the opposite direction.
For what?
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Okay.
I don't think this has ever happened before, so we should take note that this is a historic moment for the history of humanity. Now, for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, this is the use of the soundtrack.
Yes, this is where we have a departure.
Yes, this is, I think, the first time we've ever had a fundamental disagreement like this. If you listen to our last episode, you know that I liked the use of the soundtrack in this, and it felt more organically into the story than in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. The incorrect opinion on the other side of the table, if you want to give your...
No. I think the first movie did a better job with the music. This movie felt much more forced, and they're just like, oh, remember how you like those old songs from the first movie? Like, hear the shit ton more in random places. It did work in some parts, like the Yondu escape with Rocket and the arrow.
Oh yeah, they come a little bit closer.
Come a little bit closer. It worked. That one was done very well. There's like one more that's maybe done well. I really didn't.
Sun at the end was really good.
That was like a little bit forced. I was like, okay, calm it down.
I think
the music kind of just annoys me in general, because whenever Peter Quill is like, oh, you don't know who this is? He's like the greatest song person of our of the world. It's like, you've listened to like 16 songs your entire life. You don't know what the music is.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with the soundtrack for 3, based on the fact that he has a Zune now instead of a Walkman.
That was kind of a cheat. That was like a cheating way where now they don't actually... It's going to be bad, I think, because now they don't have to actually think about the time period, and now they can literally put anything on
Right,
it.
yeah, they can do any song up until the Zune was no longer relevant.
But I'm sure they'll just ignore that anyway. But yeah, this was very good. I really didn't like... I think it's a movie I'm happy I did not see in a movie theater. I think
you're very right about that, though.
Because I could, from watching it, I guarantee this is a movie with a lot of forced laughter going on in the background. Like, I don't think it would have been like seeing Star Wars opening night where people would have been like applauding, but there's definitely a lot of extremely obnoxious loud laughter.
A lot of obnoxious loud laughter, and it was grating too, because that happened to me. Like the whole sequence with Taserface, like, oh my god, like I was rolling my eyes the entire time, and then when I saw it again, I was like, oh, that's actually kind of funny. But
that's like, because I did laugh at that part, and I'm happy. That's like, I knew if that was happening in the theater, I probably would have thought it was that funny.
Like the thing with Groot bringing back the stuff over and over again. Like,
yeah, that was fun. Baby Groot actually just kind of annoyed me all around. Like I felt like his entire character was just like a joke. That's like, I really didn't like the beginning scene where you just follow Baby Groot around.
I liked it. It's not as impressive as other tracking shots in movies, considering it was all CGI and a lot easier to do.
It's like in Star Wars when they had that tracking shot of Poe just shooting everything. It's like, yeah, but all you need to do is film Finn's reaction on the ground, and the rest of that's all done with computers. Like, great. It's not that hard to do. Like, this one I'll give a little bit more credit than that because you still have the actors in there somewhat. And it's still panning around and there's no cuts, so it's still not easy to do. But it's still substantially easier than, like, Birdman or the opening scene of The Revenant, where it's just all in one continuous take and it's all, like, actual people doing things. There's no computer. There is computers involved, obviously, but it's easier to do in this case. I did you like that Fox on the Run was not in the movie?
Yeah, I remember that because Fox on the Run was probably like my second or third favorite song that was going to be in the soundtrack, so I was very disappointed. But I had to come a little bit closer. I hadn't heard it in a very long time, and I actually like that song a lot, so I'm happy I did that. And Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, I like that song a lot too. So I was happy that
I do like the dramatic reading of the lyrics that
that was kind of. I liked Kurt Russell doing it. It was very good because he could do anything. But
well, it's the same thing with Jeff Goldblum and Thor Ragnarok, though. Like the two of them are very good at what they do, and if they're just playing themselves, it's fine.
That's very true. But like, it's funny because Kurt Russell saying the lyrics to that song and explaining how he's a sailor in the song is more captivating than Chris Pratt trying to be a dramatic actor.
Well, the thing is with that too. I think that it also is the first hint, even though it does happen like almost immediately after that we see that he did view Meredith as just another possible person to bear his children. It's the first indication of that because if you listen to the lyrics of the song, the sailor who's saying that isn't just saying that just because he loves her. You can interpret it as he's just saying that to try and sleep with her.
Yeah.
Because he's bringing her gifts, he's doing all this nice stuff, and he's not. It could be construed also as him just being a scumbag.
He gives her a tumor.
Exactly.
If he has the power to give people tumors, can't he just artificially inseminate people?
You would think so, but I think you'd end up with more Jesus problems than you need.
Or just create life. I don't know. I think they kind of. There's a problem that I knew once I found out that he was playing a planet and that he was probably going to be the bad guy. Is that he's too powerful. Mm-hmm. So like the whole ending battle is kind of stupid because it's Peter Quill fighting the planet's representation of itself,
right?
Which actually is not himself. So I don't like that whole final battle. He could have just like not been there and then just been doing other planetary things, and probably would have been fine. By getting rid of the bomb that was inside of him.
That's true, yeah.
The best part I think was the Yondu arrows. That was my favorite scene. Was it Yondu? Because Yondu, you find out a little bit more about Ravager culture, I guess. That's something I don't think anyone wanted, and I don't think we needed it either.
Also, I think it was very obvious that Yondu was going to. I figured out Yondu was going to die when we first see Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
And he's like, you'll never have the whatever the hell that weird light show that he had over.
Yeah, they're like pirates, I guess, but they're like good pirates. I don't know.
Well, no, they're pirates with a code. Like even the pirates that we have in our own world, not the current pirates, but the pirates from like the 1600s, they still had some form of a code that they followed within themselves. Even if it was outside the law, they still kind of followed it to them. It was like a code among thieves kind of thing. Where the Ravagers have that, and the entire thing is Yondu broke it by trafficking children, but he trafficked in so many children, he figured out what was happening to the children after like the 400th or 500th kid he dropped.
That was a good reveal. I was like, what? Who cares about that? And then later on, it came back, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Also, it's another. I think the Marvel movies are now like James Bond movies, where at first it pissed me off, but now I'm just accepting it. Where they all follow the exact same formula.
Basically. Well, the thing is, I was listening to Fat Man on Batman, and Mark Bernard was talking about his top 10 list, and he was exactly right about this movie, where once they announced what was going to be happening, whereas James Gunn is Peter Quill's real father, and...
Kurt Russell, or do you mean Ego?
Right. Did I say James Bond with this?
You said James Gunn is
No.
his real father.
Yeah.
Ego was his real father, and then
He wrote
Ego will be the villain.
movie.
It kind of gives away that it's gonna be one of those movies where it's like you're the family you're born into versus the family you choose. That's the wording he used when he was talking about it, and it's true. Like it's one of those things. It's like Kung Fu Panda 3 or the Crocodile Tears. Again, going back to Alex Rider, the eighth Alex Rider book, Crocodile Tears, is about him. He meets his godfather, but his godfather was working for the evil organization, not Spectre. That's what it is, and it's a really interesting way to look at the whole thing. Is it's what's more important as you grow up, the family you're born into, the family you choose, and that.
Well, the other thing every Marvel movie does now is the first scene. They're like, "Oh, this has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. Like, what is this object? Like, who cares?" And then they at the end of the movie, they're like, "Oh, wait, this is what's going to save us."
Yeah.
Everyone.
Did you like the Dairy Queen product placement?
Yeah, that was very intense. Also, I guess the other 80 Marvel superheroes on Earth were just like, "That's weird."
Like, even the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't react to that. They was like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I guess
That definitely
Hundred's
killed a lot of
dead."
people.
But
that was moving really fast.
But again, it's also a good point that, it's a good thing we have the superheroes under surveillance by the United Nations, because, as we all know, that was the direct result of the Avengers being a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a good thing to have that. Also, I like the... did you watch the CinemaSins for this movie?
No, I don't watch CinemaSins anymore.
There was one really funny... I think the funniest thing in it is the scene where they're like... When Nebula's like, you guys aren't friends. You fight all the time, you're not friends. And Drax goes, "No, we're family." And he goes, "I guess Drax just marathoned all 8 of the Fast and the Furious movies before this scene."
Drax is, I think, the funniest character in all the Marvel movies. He's so funny.
It's just, I think it's just because he's very good at being the straight man to everyone else's antics around him.
He just, like, when he's, like, talking to the Mantis girl, and he says, "You're disgusting." And then she comes to him when he's in bed, and he says, "I was trying to put you down gently when I told you were disgusting. I don't want to be with you." Then starts dry heaving because he thought about having sex with her.
I like the thing where he's like, "Do you not hear the story of your parents having sex? Like, every Christmas, my father would tell a story of inseminating my mother."
He's so funny. His makeup is amazing too. This movie should definitely win awards for makeup. Like it looks so good. Everyone's skin.
Did you like Mantis in this movie?
Yeah, I thought that character was funny.
He's gonna be in
cool.
Infinity War.
Did they change Gamora's? Like, did they add stuff to her face? I don't remember having like those lines on her face.
I remember the lines. Maybe they were different lines. I don't remember though.
Okay. But also, the part where Gamora and Nebula's fight in the underground cavern, and then Nebula said, "I just wanted a sister," was so bad.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Out of these two movies, I think the weakest acting performance is definitely Karen Gillan.
Yes. Like,
to be fair, what do you expect from an actress from Doctor Who? Like, name one actor from Doctor Who was a companion who went on to do something good.
I don't know.
Because I would just say, name one actor from Doctor Who went on to do something good after, and then you could very easily just say David Tennant. Because he's a great actor, but there's been no good, no companions who've gone on to do something good after the fact. But yeah, I think this is a very strong movie. Like, my biggest complaint is that it's too, like, because of how predictable it is, the ride to get to the end isn't as entertaining. And really, the movie feels like a slice of life movie, and that's not a bad thing. And a lot of people had that problem where it's like, well, nothing's really happening. But it has a very, and I said this about The Last Jedi, Empire Strikes Back feel about it, where it's slow paced, but it's developing the characters. Like, it's making the characters into more than just the 2D cutout of what punches really hard with them. Like, it's turning them into relatable people.
The part with Kurt Russell revealing, like, beginning to reveal his plan, felt like talking to someone, and then you realize they're a white supremacist.
Yes.
Like hinting at that he doesn't like. I met life and I was disappointed in it, and he's just talking more and more.
Like, you definitely have a copy of Mein Kampf somewhere in your library, don't you?
Yeah.
That wasn't him confirming his copy of Mein Kampf. That was him agreeing with.
The scene with Peter and Gamora fighting, and she says, "Oh, you can't trust him," and then Peter's like, "He's my father. Why won't you let me be happy?" It's like, "Oh, I wonder who's the bad guy in this movie."
Like, the entire thing was so predictable that if you're going to do something with that storyline, like, this isn't a movie that you with this plot line, you don't do a development story. Also, this should have been a third movie in a trilogy, I think, with Peter Quill coming to terms with who he is as a person, with his own autonomy. That's something you do more in a third movie than a second movie, because now the third act of this series is not going to be about Peter Quill having a character moment to himself, because he already had that. He's just going to be kind of along for the ride. But the other thing is, like, a lot of the plot threads that we set up in the first one aren't really ever resolved in terms of character. Like, we have nice ones for Peter, we have a nice one for Yondu, we have nice ones for Gamora and for Nebula, who are intrinsically tied together because of the fact that they're sisters who were bioengineered by Thanos. But you don't really have that for Drax, who has a great amount of emotional depth you can go into with the character because he lost his family.
Yes.
But I feel like they're going to explore that more in Infinity War. And Rocket could have had more. Where the extent of Rocket's development here is, you're an asshole and here's why. Rather than delving into that, delve into what it's like to be a genetically engineered creature that was just a number until he escaped or whatever the hell happened with him. And I know it sounds like we're nitpicking a comic book movie that at its core is a silly concept, but I want to address this because it really comes in after Jodie Foster's comments. If we don't address these things, they're not going to change. And I know a podcast that has like 20 people listening to it on a weekly basis isn't going to spur much change, but if everyone looked at these movies the same way and looked at them critically, where you could still develop an emotional story behind it. Like, look at Logan, which came out last year too, a few months prior to this, where Logan deconstructs Wolverine as a character. Like, it's something that should be looked into. Like, you wanna develop the characters as people, especially if they're superheroes, because, like, I can't relate to someone who can punch really hard or fly or anything like that. I can relate to someone who has emotional struggles and has to deal with their own humanity and things like that. Like, Superman isn't an unrelatable character, because like the fact that he's an alien and all that kind of thing. Like, he's relatable because he's at his core a good person, and if you explore that and what it like to be a good person but unable to do everything, that's a better way to really deal with it than the way that Snyder portrays him, where he's a good person and that the world feels they owe him something, that he owes them something for accepting him. Did you see Justice League yet? No, you haven't, right? Okay. I like how, I'm going to say Justice real quick, in Justice League, they make it seem like Superman's death was responsible for Trump being president. Because it's like, they're talking about the various things that have been going on since he died. It's like, crime is on the rise. And then it cuts to this white guy kicking down some immigrant lady's fruit stand. And the guy's wearing a MAGA Horde t-shirt.
Oh my god.
And it's like, this is definitely a Joss Whedon thing. Because, like, that's not a Zack Snyder thing. I can guarantee that. But yeah, it felt like, so I guess we can blame Zack Snyder for Donald Trump being president. That's the moral of the movie that I got. So how would you rate Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
I think I would give it a 7, because it entertained me for most of the time, but it was very predictable, and just felt like another Marvel movie. I don't know if I'll I don't know if I'll watch it again or own it. I was fine watching it, and that's it.
I mean, for me, it was definitely not as good as the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I agree.
But I didn't expect it to. Like, it's not that I went into it expecting it to be as good as the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, I would give it an 8. I think I gave the first one a 9, because I think it's still one of my favorite of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. But yeah, I think that it sets a pretty high bar going into Infinity War for where these characters are, and now it sets it on a course for future movies. Speaking of movies that are going to lead directly into Infinity War, let's talk about the second movie we have today, Thor Ragnarok, which also came out this year. So I know nothing about what you thought about it, besides you liked it better than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
After seeing... Now, at this moment, I think Thor Ragnarok is my favorite Marvel movie.
Really? Better than Winter Soldier?
Yes.
That's high praise.
Yep. I think it's everything that I would want out of a Marvel movie. They don't try to do anything that's beyond them. That's after rewatching Winter Soldier a few times, and like, calm down, Marvel. Like, you need to take a chill pill. I think the visuals are very exciting. I think the story it still comes back to the whole Marvel universe, but still very original, where you don't really need, like, I didn't have to rewatch anything to get at it. Like, I don't think there was anything I missed because I hadn't seen the movies leading up to this like that recently.
Right.
The only one, it was helpful to have watched Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange is in this movie. Like, spoiler alert at the beginning.
Very briefly. He's very briefly in the movie.
That was a surprise. I was like, oh, look at that.
He was in the post-credits scene of Doctor Strange.
Thor?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I forgot that.
Yeah, the post-credits scene of Doctor Strange is the scene where he's sitting there and he's talking to him about finding Loki. Like, if I help you find your father... Oh, no. If I help you find your father, will you and Loki depart?
Yeah.
And he's got the beer and he keeps refilling it.
Yeah, that's when he's wearing, like, the leather jacket.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. But, oh well, that made it more of a surprise.
Well, this is a what's it called? I think it's definitely the funniest, but not in a bad way. Like, it's funny, but it's not try hard funny like Age of Ultron was.
Yeah, they do. The humor of this movie is amazing. The story, so it starts. There's gonna be spoilers in this, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. But at this point, I think everyone's seen it who wants to see it.
That is true. It's been out for a while, but basically, finally, it's resolved that Thor has finally figured out that Loki usurped Odin as pretended to be Odin this whole time.
Yeah.
So he goes back, and then everything is not really shitty, but just like off. Matt Damon makes a cameo appearance.
And so did what's his name from Jurassic Park?
Who was that?
The not Jeff Goldblum. The other one. Sam Neill. Sam Neill.
Wait, what was Sam Neill on it?
He was Odin in that scene.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's Matt Damon is Loki, Liam Hemsworth is Thor, and Sam Neill is Odin.
Oh, that is now I'm gonna go rewatch Thor Ragnarok. I didn't notice that at all.
Well, it's been a very good year for the cast of Jurassic Park, because you have Jeff Goldblum and Sam Neill in this one, then Laura Dern.
Okay, I think it's mostly Laura Dern, because she is. Actually, I guess it's Jeff Goldblum too. Sam Neill is just a little cameo, but Sam Neill runs a vineyard, and a farm, so he doesn't really act anymore.
Right.
But the director, Taika
Waititi.
What titties?
What titties?
What titties? He plays the rock guy.
Korg. Who
I thought, remember that show, Summer Heights High?
Yes.
I thought it was that guy at first, because his voice sounds like when he's playing the indigenous kid that's in middle school.
Oh yeah, the one who was a what's it called, the bad kid.
Yeah, and that is what that director's ethnicity is. So I guess that
New Zealand.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, that...
But he was hilarious when he was just like, "Oh, I tried to start a resistance, it didn't work." Right. Like just everything he said, like, "Oh, like that's Doug. Like, how you doing, Doug? Doug's dead." Just so funny.
But he got that. It's because of the delivery for everything like that. He got that very like, I don't even know what the right word is. Like it's not
innocent?
dark. It's just a very straight delivery of every joke. Like
Aloof, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's the best way of doing it. Oh, yeah.
Because he's saying horrible things, but it's just in a very pleasant tone.
Very pleasant and very casual. Like it's something that we get to see every day.
He basically runs this garbage planet that time passes different, so he's millions of years old, but not really.
He's Benicio del Toro's character's brother. He's the Collector's brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a Celestial too. The Grandmaster is a Celestial, like the Collector.
I didn't know the Collector was a Celestial.
Yeah.
Is everyone a Celestial in space?
Not really. It's just those two are both like cosmic entities to an extent.
So
like the Grandmaster, at least in the comics, the Grandmaster. Oh, speaking of which, Jeff Goldblum has a cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy.
My friend said it in the
credits.
trailer. There's little gifts basically.
Yeah.
And he's one of them dancing.
Yeah.
That's how I never rewind it. I was like, wait, is that Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah, when I saw it in theaters, I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck? But he, what's it called? In the comics, he was able to control probability and things like that.
I don't believe. It wouldn't work on me because I don't believe in probability.
Oh, okay, good. But he was able to control odds, probability, that kind of thing, to kind of control control outcomes of various things. That's not really illustrated here. He could just be, like both him and the Collector are traditionally Celestials. They could just be really old people who've just been around forever because of what they do.
That's true.
But until we see otherwise, we'll just keep it at that. Because I have a feeling the Collector doesn't exactly live through. He gets an off-screen death in Infinity War, I feel like.
That might happen. And also in this movie, the Grandmaster might also be dead.
Yeah. That final post-credit scene with Jeff Goldblum is probably the funniest.
I think we should all give ourselves a pat on the back for this amazing rebellion. And we should credit me because you can't have a rebellion without having a leader to rebel against. And then when Hulk and Thor escape, and he says, "Take to the streets and worship my champion." So fun. And when we first meet Jeff Goldblum's character, this guy does something to him, and he takes his staff, and he just says, "I pardon you from life," and then kills him. It's so funny. He's so Jeff Goldblum-y.
Yeah, and it's like, the other thing is like, "Do you want me to have the staff?" He's like, "No, he spoke out of turn. That's not a capital offense."
Also, actually, it's a critique of this movie that I don't think Marvel's very good at trailers, actually. I think sometimes they nail it, but this movie especially, I think they ruined the trailers. I think it would have been so much better if you didn't know the Hulk was in the movie.
Exactly, that was what I was thinking too, going into it, and after I saw it, there's so much material in the movie you could use that wouldn't spoil that the Hulk is in it at all.
Yeah, and it would have been such a better reveal at that point. If,
like that the Hulk is there. Or if you're going to reveal the Hulk is there, reveal it in like the second trailer like they did with Spider-Man in Civil War. Don't blow your load in the first one. Yeah.
And they were afraid because it was a very out there Marvel movie. I think they panicked.
Right, probably. Because the first two Thor movies weren't exactly commercial. They weren't bombs by any stretch of the imagination, but they weren't the commercial
successes. But they weren't successful, yeah.
Right, they weren't like...
and I think this one was an expensive one, I believe.
Oh, yeah, but they made back a lot of money. They made a nice amount of money on that.
Yeah, but it all worked out.
Yeah.
The Kate Blanchett's bad guy, Hela, was very good.
Yeah, it was a very interesting thing because it also loops back to what Thor has always been about in the thing, and it's a family dynamic. And it is all about the family infighting. Where it's like, it is similar to... for DC Aquaman. Where it's,
it's this other kingdom.
Right, and it's like they have to go between the two worlds where he's king of Asgard now and he's helping Midgard. It also answered my question that I've had for a long time.
And are the other realms other dimensions, or are they just planets that happen to be connected to Asgard?
That like confused me a lot, and I wasn't sure what was happening.
They actually explain it a little bit in this movie, because it's like, well, we can always go to nowhere and then stop off there and then go another 10,000 miles and then go to Asgard. And it's like they explain where it's like Odin used Hela to conquer the 9 realms.
Yeah, that was a good reveal where Odin used to be much more intense.
Yeah. And then he goes off, and then after that he's like, you know what? We're good with just 10 planets being in our control. We need no more. And Hela was like, that's not what I want to do. So they locked her up.
And they killed the dog.
Yeah. Did you like Valkyrie in this movie?
Yes, she was a fun character.
The Valkyrie who doesn't ever get called by her real name. She's just the Valkyrie.
Oh yeah, I guess yeah.
It's the opposite of Scarlet Witch, who's never called the Scarlet Witch.
They call her her number for a while.
Right.
But does that mean? I guess a kind of a plot hole is shouldn't. Or I guess it does work out where time passes slower on that planet.
Or it passes.
So
yeah, that could be it. It passes slower, so that's why Loki's been there for like weeks already. When Thor.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I reversed in my head. Loki is such a good character too.
Yeah. Did you like the when Hulk does the thing he did to Loki in the Avengers, and then he does it to Thor, and Loki's like, "Yeah, how do you like it?"
Yeah, that was a very good battle between Thor and the Hulk.
It also kind of teases the end of the movie, where he summons the lightning without the what's it called?
Oh yes, I really like when he tries to do it when he's talking to Jeff Goldblum, and he's like, "Oh, that was cool. He shot sparkles out of your fingers."
I like the whole time they're going in. By the way, I think that the whole scene going in to see Jeff Goldblum the first time, where they're playing.
Oh yeah, the Willy Wonka thing. I forgot it. That made me laugh really hard.
The only thing that was funnier about that for me was it was before the second trailer for Ready Player One came out. So they played before the movie the first trailer for Ready Player One, where they also used that song. So I heard that song twice in this showing of the movie. It's like. Also, did you like the use of the immigrant song in this? Twice?
Yeah, that was very good. And it's all about Vikings, so
yeah, I'm all for using Led Zeppelin whenever you want to. By all means.
It's very expensive, so
exactly.
That's probably why they use it.
That's why they use it for the trailer and twice in the movie.
Like, a lot. So, like we bought this, like we're using the fuck out of it.
It did really make the final battle more engaging and more intense. The song choice is very important for that. It's like, and again, I'm going to say it, and you still haven't seen the movie, The Golden Circle, when they do the final fight to Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting.
Yeah.
By Elton John. It's an interesting choice, and that's something that I've learned to love over the last year is weird song choices for confrontations. Because like in Baby Driver, there's a shootout set to Tequila. Which is also fun. And then it's like as they Jamie Foxx throws a grenade into someone's car, and as he goes tequila like that, and it blows up at the end of the song. But Immigrant Song was a very good choice here for this. What else is there about this movie? How do you feel about where it leaves off going into Infinity War?
Yeah, that was fun. Where like Asgard is a people, not a planet, so they got off. Was that Thanos' ship?
Yes.
Okay. I assumed that, but I was confused.
It's Thanos' ship, and it's also implied that Loki stole the Tesseract from Asgard's vault.
Oh, yes, because he looks at it and he's like, oh, that's interesting.
And then Thanos' ship shows up like, what's up, bitches? And then...
I think the Avengers trailer is also pretty shitty, where this is once again why are they showing to me this in the trailer, where they show Thanos ripping the Mind Stone out of, what's his name's face.
I think that was a foregone conclusion, though.
Yeah, but that's not something you show in the trailer. Or that could have had...
Look at the other stones. That's the easiest stone to get. I think the opening scene of Infinity War is going to be Xandar getting curb stomped and him getting the Power Stone.
Who's Xandar? I forget.
Where Glenn Close lives in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
I think that's going to be the opening scene. It's going to be him going in and just like skull fucking Xandar and taking the Power Stone. and then he goes to Earth, and I want to see. I don't care if the movie is good or not for Infinity War. I will be very content if that scene of Thanos punching Iron Man in the face and Iron Man going down like a bitch. If that's in the movie, you have sold me completely. Because that was probably my favorite part of Civil War, was seeing Captain America not in a suit beat the crap out of Iron Man in an Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
That was very satisfying to watch.
I was also watching the trailer. This is a little bit. It's a Marvel for Black Panther.
I like the song choice for that.
I like the song, but who's playing Black Panther?
Chadwick Boseman.
His accent is horrible.
Do you know what his accent is based on?
Is it based on Will Smith's Nigerian accent?
No, it's based on Eddie Murphy's accent in Welcome to America.
That's what it sounds like. Like, so good job. You base your accent off a joke. You base your accent off a joke African accent.
Exactly.
Because it's horrible.
But I hope that's a good movie. I do genuinely.
So why is Michael B. Jordan
also a Black Panther?
No. Why is he doing an impression of Jaden Smith in that movie?
What, in his physical appearance? Yeah, I kind of had that question too. Who looks like Jaden Smith for fat? Maybe in Wakanda they don't get that Jaden Smith's a joke, and it's like, this is the upstanding black man we want to stand up and try and be, and it's like everyone here is just like, no. I don't know. I'm very also, by the way, we get to take a minute to acknowledge that after that movie comes out, we will have seen a Marvel movie with the entire principal cast of the movie Creed in it.
I am excited for that because it's the director of Creed.
It is. It's Ryan Coogler.
Yes, so I like, and Creed 2 is coming out this year, I think.
Yes, this November, Creed 2. I still like the idea from movie fights where they do the tournament to see who the new champion is, or the new. I
think he has to fight Dolph Lundgren's son.
I could see that happening too.
And he has to murder Dolph Lundgren's son.
No, I could actually see them doing that too, but like a straight take on it.
Or he has to fight Mr. T's son.
That could also be a thing they do.
Or he has to fight the guy from Rocky V's son, but they don't fight in the ring. They have a street fight.
It's another street fight. What was the? Did you see the trailer for? We're getting off topic again, but did you see the trailer for Pacific Rim Uprising yet?
No, not yet.
I bought the first Pacific Rim. I have not yet watched the first Pacific Rim, but they that trailer is so good that it sold me on the movie without having actually seen the previous movie.
Mm-hmm.
The song choice is also very good in that too. The Rangers are tied with the Coyotes. Right now, 1-1.
Right.
So back to Ragnarok though, where we got off topic. What else is there to talk about with this movie? It's not particularly deep.
I'm fine with that.
I like the thing where Banner jumps out of the thing. He's like, "You want to see why I'm so ready?" And he jumps out. He just ragdolls on the ground.
Yeah, he just smashes straight face first into the bridge.
Like, I actually cringed when I heard it the first time, because like that smack. Like, I cringed a little bit when I heard that the first time. I was like, "Ooh, that sounded like it hurt a little bit."
The Mark Ruffalo was very good. Heather Thompson was amazing in this movie too.
Yeah, she was.
I liked her alcoholic character. That was fun.
Yes. She also does a pretty good British accent.
Yes, she does. I forgot about that.
It's not like John Boyega's American accent, or his British accent for that matter. Have you heard it? Like, that's the other thing. When you watch the trailer for Pacific Rim Uprising, you will hear how bad his real voice is, and you see why he needs to do the bad American accent.
Wait, so they made in Pacific Rim they give him a British accent?
It just he just uses his normal voice.
Oh, like they let him talk. Isn't that because is he Idris Elba's son in the movie?
He's Idris Elba's son.
Yeah, okay. I called that from a while ago, and wasn't Idris Elba British in that? Like,
yes.
He had his own voice in that.
Yeah.
I
The second I heard
watch
John
Pacific
Boyega,
Rim like tomorrow. Cause I do really want to watch that.
it's very good.
What else was there with this? What did you think of Carl Urban and his portrayal of Scourge?
I like that. I don't know who the character is, so I was fine with it. I thought it was funny.
I don't think anyone was upset with the character's portrayal because, like, even the scene of him with the 2 machine guns,
That was funny. I like that.
that was from what's it called? That's directly from the comic.
Yeah.
Like that's another panel recreation, like the one that I clapped at and you glared at me during Civil War. When they do the thing where with the shield and the repulsors, and I clapped at you, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like that was another comic recreation. Also, did you know that the shake weight that's in this movie is from another movie that Taika Waititi directed?
What?
Green Lantern.
Oh, I didn't know he directed the Green Lantern.
It's the same shake weight that Ryan Reynolds has in the Green Lantern. He took it from set there and used it in this movie, so it's the first DC Marvel crossover.
So that shake weight's the first character crossover.
Yep. But the thing is, I think it shows what happens when, and the thing is too, I think it also illustrates that anyone who says that DC is more director driven than Marvel is completely wrong, because this movie is very obviously Taika Waititi's movie.
Yes.
Like it's not like it's the same way the Russos had. You can tell almost free reign on the Winter Soldier. And even to an extent, like, the movie wasn't that good, but the first Thor movie, you can tell it was Kenneth Branagh's movie.
Yeah, I like the first Thor. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's fine. It's like the Wolverine. It's fine. Like, it's not great. It's fine.
Yeah.
But like, you can tell that, like, that whole it was like Green Lantern wasn't bad because of Taika Waititi. It was bad because of what's his name. It's the same reason why whoever's in charge at Warner Brothers. It's the same reason why if what's it called's bad. If Aquaman is bad, I'm not gonna blame James Wan because he didn't do that bad of a job on whichever fucking Fast and the Furious movie he made.
Yeah.
Also, I want to apologize. I don't think I ever did it on the podcast, but I want to apologize to F. Gary Gray. Because I feel like I may have disparaged him by saying I never want to see him direct a fucking Marvel movie because of how bad his action shots were in Straight Outta Compton. He did a very good job in Fate of the Furious. He directed Fate of the Furious, too. And that movie was very good. So I want to just formally apologize for that. So how would you rate Thor Ragnarok?
I would give it... This is a movie I'm probably going to watch again, so for me that makes it very high. I'll give it a 9 out of 10, because there's parts of the CGI that weren't that great.
Yeah. I think Guardians of the Galaxy definitely had better CGI. Like, that whole final sequence... Like, again, you didn't like the final sequence of the song choice you thought was forced. I thought the song choice was a very good song choice for father and son. Well, yeah, it's obvious that it's a little too on the nose, but I think...
Cats in the Cradle. That would have been much
better.
better.
I was literally just about to say, like, if they played Cats in the Cradle, then you would be right, but no, they father
No,
and son
because
was...
Cats in the Cradle would have been funny then. So it would have been much better.
I think Cats in the Cradle, I'm going to say this now, I think Cats in the Cradle makes an appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 during a scene where Peter's talking about Yondu.
What?
I think Cats in the Cradle is going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
You said 2.
Okay, that's not... Okay. I meant in 3. When Peter's going back to and reminiscing about Yondu. The songs that make an appearance. But I do think that the everything that Guardians of the Galaxy does, with the exception of the CGI, is done better in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the jokes are better, the story's better and less predictable.
And the CGI is good enough, but there's some parts where it's like some of the Hela scenes,
right?
Like a little bit much.
I did like what's it called? Like, did you like the Hulk penis joke?
Yes, that was funny. And the part where he says, "I pulled on like my I spin my hammer and it pulls me." and then the rock guy's like, your hammer pulls you off. And it was like a jack off joke. I was like, that's pretty good.
Did you? Okay, but what was better? Was the thing was like, oh, that's the Hulk's penis. Was that funnier, or was in Age of Ultron when he goes, where's Widow and Hulk? They might not be playing hide the zucchini.
I think that was funnier because it was just shocking that was said.
Yeah. But like, did you like? Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to ask you about. What did you think of the thing to bring him out of being the Hulk, being Black Widow?
That was like I like that little shout out.
And I like how Thor kept trying to do it to him the entire.
Yeah, that was
movie.
really funny.
Like he was trying to do it in the arena, and then he tries to do it.
Coming up or whatever. Yeah.
And then he's just like, "Why do you keep saying that?" Like, Also, I like that the Hulk actually looks more like Mark Ruffalo than
I like the Hulk
movies.
Kind of cognizant. It's fun.
Yeah. Also, the other thing I wanted to point out is that this movie, if you didn't you read Planet Hulk, or you know enough about Planet Hulk, if you didn't read it.
Whoa! I have. Guess how old Chadwick Boseman is?
He's like 40, right?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, he does not.
I thought he was
age.
Michael. I thought he was Michael B. Jordan's age.
He's like 32, I think. Michael B. Jordan. He's in his late 20s, early 30s, I think.
Yeah, I thought that was fine. Every time those, that's crazy.
What was that saying?
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan's 30.
There's something I was saying. I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, I think that's
Apparently, black women are boycotting Black Panther.
why.
Hold
on. Here's a question I have for you about Black Panther, though. Do you think they introduced the Soul Stone in Black Panther, the final Infinity Stone that hasn't been introduced?
Mm-hmm. I guess they do.
I don't think they should. To be honest, because of what's it called? If you introduce the Infinity Stone there, and it's most of the Infinity Stones are that I think that wouldn't fit well. What's it called?
Apparently people are trying to start a movement to boycott the Black Panther because Michael B. Jordan is in it, and then because his current girlfriend is not black, and black women, there's a small group of black women that say that he's being racist against black women for not dating black women.
That's stupid.
And they want to boycott his movies.
Oh my god!
But it's probably like 20 people, so I don't think Black Panther's going to be hurting from this boycott.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that was one of the things they were talking about on Fat Man on Batman. It's like the 25,000 people who signed the petition to have Episode 8 stricken from the canon. It's like if those 25,000 people don't go to the movie, go see Star Wars anymore, that's like $500,000. If they sell like one more drink an hour at Disney World, they make up that money.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a possible plot leak for what's it called. This is actually interesting. This might be real. Not strange. No, it's completely wrong. So this, do you want to hear fake leaks from Reddit for Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Alright, just give me a few, because I actually have to go soon.
Okay, so this is the way we know it's fake. These are the Thor Ragnarok ones, which we knew number 2 before, because Hulk is a side character. Like, we knew that.
From the trailer.
Right. There are 3 post-credit scenes. First one's a Thor movie. Second one is Thor meeting Doctor Strange with an extended sequence. And the third one is related to Infinity War, with Thor and Doctor Strange meeting the Guardians of the Galaxy. So we know that's not real. Black Panther. Andy Serkis is a secondary villain, the scene you see in the trailers from the beginning of the movie. Sebastian Stan returns as Bucky in the mid-credit scene. Also, Chris Evans has a cameo. There's a joke about Michael B. Jordan playing the Human Torch in the movie, breaking the fourth wall. Black Panther is currently in post-production test screenings without special effects are positive. They praise the direction, casting, and tone. And Martin Freeman's in the movie, but he only has 20 minutes of screen time. Serkis has 40 minutes of screen time. Now, here's the Infinity War one. This is the interesting one. The first okay. Side villains are, okay, Hela, Zemo, and Death. Okay. Red Skull is mentioned by Thanos during an action scene. He reveals the villain is still alive somewhere and his arrival is coming. Here's my problem with that. Why would Thanos be heralding the arrival of the Red Skull?
He's the most powerful villain.
If it was the other way around and Red Skull was the villain of this movie and he's like, oh, Thanos is coming, that'd be different. But reversed, it makes no sense. Captain America dies in this movie. Thanos kills him. Confirmed deaths are, okay? Confirmed being in this fake league. Iron Man, Vision, Captain America, Agent 13, Loki, Hawkeye, Maria Hill, Nebula, Drax, and Nick Fury. All the deaths are emotional and will impact fans for the rest of their lives. Then the Infinity Stones resurrect Aaron Taylor Johnson as Quicksilver, and his screen time is about 5 minutes. Thanos destroys half the Earth in a very similar to Dr. Eggman in Sonic Adventure 2. The Guardians of the Galaxy don't have a limited role. They have a huge chunk of screen time. There's a battle scene in the House of Doctor Strange, and it takes up 30 minutes. That actually is real, though. Bucky becomes Captain America in a post-credit scene. Thanos doesn't die, but he's defeated and put in a special block that will keep him for a very long time. All the deaths have a funeral. Spider-Man becomes the leader of the New Avengers, with Bucky as Captain America. And there are 4 post-credit scenes. The original plan was to include the Defenders, but they scrapped it. The first scene is Spider-Man The New Turn searching for the Red Skull. The new team is Black Widow, Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Thor, Hulk, Black Panther, Ant-Man, and Falcon. Second scene is Thanos planning his breakout. He seeks the help of Dormammu. Okay. Third scene is an origin of Moon Knight. And the fourth scene is Spider-Man looking at an algorithm on screen. Screen. Captain Marvel comes in and says they're ready. Spider-Man says, this is wrong, look at the algorithm, it's just wrong. It's like alternate timelines coexist in this world. See there? Oh, that's just crazy. Captain Marvel concludes with, so they're alternate timelines. Wow, cool. That resolves our problem. The scene points out a reference to the X-Men timeline, but it's only a reference. All of this is written very poorly. I don't want to deal with it. I'm not even going to deal with it. This is really stupid. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Number 3, Glenn Close makes his return.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the return of the male actor, Glenn Close.
You put a man in that one movie.
What?
You put a man in that one movie.
That's true.
Alan Gray, I don't know.
It's like, how do I remove... the top comment is from the guy who posted... No, it's from someone else. It's from a mod. Do I just remove it? It's so dumb. It ranges from things rumored to embarrassing fan fiction. And it's like, wow, Loki dies in both Ragnarok and Infinity War, and the main villain for Captain Marvel is a villain on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The main villain is the Absorbing Man in Captain Marvel. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be really, really stupid. I'm looking forward to Infinity War though. I think it'll be better than Age of Ultron. So there's a viewing order for how you should watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you want to watch all 8 billion hours of that.
Yeah, that's
and it's like someone that leaked on 4chan, so we know it's not real, but it's like 4chan's about 50-50 when it comes to leaks being accurate. So what have we got coming up? I think that in honor of the movie The Post coming out, I think next week we should do All the President's Men.
I've seen that, so I would watch that.
Because the thing is, too, it does, apparently, according to Mark Bernardin, this movie leads directly into the opening of All the President's Men.
Oh, that's fun.
He said Kevin Smith's like, so it's like Rogue One.
to A New Hope, where it's like the scene with all the flashlights, which we'll see when we watch it. But we'll do All the President's Men for the next episode next week, and then we'll do Crisis on Earth X.
Hi.
Yep. So we'll be back next week with All the President's Men.